for tuning in to the Wing Space podcast. This podcast is not a replacement for mental health treatment or professional health care. In case of crisis or emergency, please contact your local healthcare provider or dial 911.
Hey there, and welcome to the Wing Space podcast, a place to take up space. Today is part one of a two-part series on sleep. So we are going to talk about the long winter's nap. We're going to talk about what sleep hygiene is, why it's important, and in part two, we're going to talk about key ways to improve your sleep.
Hey listeners, quick intermission with one of our providers at Hope and Healing, Kristen Wilson, LCSWC, who has started offering a new program at Hope and Healing for our couples called Prepare and Enrich. So Kristen, could you give us a little more information about that program?
Prepare and Enrich is a service that we'll be offering to premarital couples. It is a strength-based program that utilizes assessment portion and then subsequent sessions to look at that assessment and discuss what are your strengths, what are the areas of growth, what are conversations that you'd like to have as you are leading up to and preparing for marriage. One of the nice things about Prepare and Enrich is that it covers not only a wide variety of areas, but it can be utilized with couples that are in different stages of life as well. So maybe this is your first marriage. Maybe it is a blending of families that come into play when you are preparing for this. So the idea is that we can support you in that process and support you in having conversations with your partner and planning ahead for success.
And if someone is listening and is interested in seeking out this service for themselves and their partner, how could they go about inquiring or scheduling an appointment?
Contact us at Hope and Healing. You can go to the website and send us your information and we'll get back with you, or you can give us a call and we'll get you scheduled. There's more than one option when it comes to utilizing this program. This is a set group of sessions. So you will either be choosing to engage in 4 sessions or 8 sessions, depending on what your needs are, what your interests are, and what works for you. The assessment is part of both of those. The skill building, the recognizing our growth areas and working on those are included in both of those sets. So you will get that experience, but just the timing of it might look different depending on your needs.
Yes, so you can give us a call at 301-690-8404, extension 0. If you get the voicemail, make sure that you leave us one so that we can give you a call back within 24 hours. You can also visit our website, like Kristen mentioned, at hopehealingtherapy.com.
So we are coming up on the Christmas season, and many of you may know by heart the book, The Night Before Christmas. And it says in there that we had just settled down for a long winter's nap. So I want you to consider what a long winter's nap might be for you. Now, most of the time when we think about a nap, we're thinking about daytime sleep. But let's think about nighttime sleep. Now, for those of you that work shift work, this is going to be a more in-depth conversation that we'll have to have potentially on another day. But there could be ways that you can take what we're going to talk about in part 2 and make it work for you. Because really we have to consider our own individual schedules and the, routine of our family. So how are their routines going to impact our sleep? And also, what's the routine of the person that you share a bed with? We have to keep that in mind. And you also have to consider, is there a medical reason why you're not sleeping? Is there a side effect of a medication that you're taking? So you might want to have a conversation with your medical provider. The unfortunate part is some medical providers are solution focused. So you'll say to your doctor, I'm not sleeping, and their solution is going to be to give you a sleeping medication. The sleeping medication may very well be the answer, but I encourage you, I almost beg you to consider what I am going to share with you in these next 2 episodes. I cannot tell you how many times in the morning I have been scrolling on Facebook and I have seen folks very dear to me commenting, posting in the middle of the night and referencing their insomnia. So this is for them, and this is also for the rest of you who might struggle with sleep. So what is this idea of sleep hygiene? The definition of hygiene is conditions or practices conducive to maintaining health and preventing disease. So when we engage in sleep hygiene, we are engaging in a practice that is going to maintain our health and prevent disease. We might not think about sleep being that vital, but it truly is a basic need. It's the same as eating and drinking and breathing. We can't not do it. Of course, when we eat and we drink, we can manipulate the amounts and things like that. And we manipulate the amounts of sleep that we get as well. But we have to do it. At some point, you will fall asleep. You just will. So when we're going to talk about this idea of sleep hygiene and sleep routines, but I want you to consider that your routine starts the moment you wake up. Because we really do have to think about that your morning impacts your whole day, including your night. So overall, sleep, healthy sleep, is important for both our physical and our mental health. That's obvious, right? I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. We know that it improves productivity, it overall improves our quality of life, and this goes for children and adults. It's so important that we consider not just ensuring that our sleep routines are healthy and on par with what we need, but that we're also considering our children's needs. Regardless of whether it's an adult or a child, good habits, so think of good hygiene, right? Because we know that hygiene are the conditions and the practices conducive to maintaining health and preventing disease. So good hygiene is a central part of health. Good hygiene equals good health. And we want to be healthy, right? Bad habits, bad hygiene equals negative health consequences. It's kind of common sense, but we often take sleep for granted and we don't prioritize it in the way that we need to because there's so many other things that we have to do. And if we're sleeping, we can't accomplish those things. So we really often take sleep off the table. And I'm going to invite you today to put it on the table. I want you to put it on the table because I'm going to share with you in just a minute the side effects of poor sleep. And then I want you to consider how your life might look different if you're getting quality sleep. So for the average adult, you need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Now, I know there are some people who are listening to this, or some people that you might know, who say, oh, I'm good with like 4 or 5 hours. You are functioning, you're surviving on 4 to 5 hours. You're not thriving. So when we're talking about good quality, healthy sleep, we're talking about going to bed, falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up feeling refreshed after 7 to 9 hours. Obviously, those newborn babies are sleeping because they are growing and their bodies are doing so much internally that they need that sleep. Adolescents and teenagers need a lot of sleep. I know that's hard for parents when we think about our kids sleeping till noon on a Saturday, but maybe if they had gone to bed a little bit earlier, they may have only slept until like 9 or 10, right? Teenage sleep and routines is a whole nother podcast for a whole nother day. There's probably a whole series in that somewhere. But for this podcast and for our purposes, I want you to think about 7 to 9 hours of sleep, okay? So how do you know if you're not getting good quality sleep? That might seem like an obvious answer, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm sluggish, I'm lethargic, etc., etc. But some people don't think about, I'm feeling tired throughout the day. I might be falling asleep when I shouldn't be falling asleep. Maybe I'm waiting for that, afternoon nap. But have you considered how you wake up? Maybe during the day you feel fine, but in the morning you wake up, you're not alert, and you're not feeling refreshed. You might also consider some of the side effects that I'm going to share with you. There's a long list. So things like difficulty learning and focusing and reacting, having slow reflexes. Think of the consequences that can come with that. If you have a job that requires you to really think on your feet and respond quickly, and you're sleep deprived, then you're not going to react. We send our kiddos to school sometimes and they haven't had enough sleep. So they're having trouble paying attention. They're sometimes overactive. They're misbehaving. Maybe they have poor academic performance. Unfortunately, sometimes we want to say, oh, they have ADHD or they have ADD, or they're just a, quote, bad kid. Maybe that poor kiddo lives in an environment where they're not able to get enough sleep, or they live in an environment where sleep has not been a priority. It's just something we do at some point in the night, and so that kiddo's going to sleep tired. It could also be a kid that's staying up in their room after their parents have put them to bed. So maybe we can consider the impact of sleep on our kids, but also for us. Talking about kids being overactive, have you ever been sleep deprived and you have like these incredible bursts of energy, right? So it's not just our kids that have that behavioral impact. Us and children, trouble making decisions, trouble solving problems, trouble remembering things. I already have the worst mom brain in the world. If I don't write it down, it does not happen. And if I'm tired, I forget to write it down. So then I really have trouble remembering things. We have trouble managing our emotions and our behavior. People who are sleep deprived are more at risk. They have a higher risk for depression, for suicide, and for high risk-taking behaviors. That's huge. So I know that one of my questions that I talk to all my clients about is, tell me about your sleep routine. When are you going to bed? When are you waking up? Are you having trouble going to sleep? Are you having trouble staying asleep? Because if they're coming to me for depression, or if they're coming to me for anxiety and trouble focusing and concentrating and getting things accomplished, it could be sleep. Difficulty coping with change and being inflexible, tending to make more mistakes and work slower, just sluggish. Your brain is sluggish, your body is sluggish. And it ultimately makes you at a higher risk for chronic health problems. You might be a very, very healthy person. You eat the right amount of, you drink the right amount of water, you're eating a healthy diet, you're exercising, you're meditating, you're doing all the things, but you're sleeping like 4 hours a night. Increased risk of chronic health problems. It is vital that we sleep. So the benefits of sleep. Now, some of these might be obvious to you, but I really want you to think about your life. I just talked about the side effects. So if you're experiencing any of those things, you might consider, maybe my sleep routine isn't the best. So it decreases your risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, obesity, and stroke. That's huge. It's during good quality sleep that our body heals and repairs our heart and all of our blood vessels. When we are up and we're moving and we're going and we're doing and we're exercising and we're walking and all those things, our body is working really hard to create all of the hormones that it needs to create in order to get us moving and send the neurotransmitters to tell our brain, to tell our hand to do this and to do that. And it's difficult to also send all of the army to a muscle that has a small tear. So during sleep is when our body rests. I want you to think about like the fairy godmother. You know, sometimes as a mom, I've gone to bed and I've thought, oh, I'm going to have to do that in the morning because it's not going to be done. Oh well. And I wake up and, you know, much to my mother's dismay, there's a basket of laundry that has to be folded or something. So imagine a fairy godmother, right, that comes into your house in the middle of the night and does the dishes and tidies up and folds the laundry. It'd be amazing. Well, that's what's happening in your body when you get good quality sleep. All of your cells are they're doing their work. They're going to those muscles that need repair. They're going to those organs that need repair. They're going and doing all of the things to rest, restore, and repair our body. So it wasn't mentioned in this National Institute of Health article that I was reviewing in preparation for this podcast, but if I'm not allowing my body to rest and repair, then I'm also at higher risk of injury. I'm at higher risk of stumbling, of falling, of, you know, working out and pulling a muscle. Because I'm not giving my body a chance to rest and repair so that the cells can do what they're supposed to do when we're naturally asleep. It's a part of our natural cycle. It also helps our body it's a part of the circadian rhythm. You've probably all heard of that, right? When we are going to sleep in a good cycle, then our body knows when to create the hormones that are associated with us feeling full and us feeling hungry. So if you are tired, you are more likely to overeat. Hear me out. If you're tired, you're more likely to overeat because your body's hormones are jacked up because you weren't getting good quality sleep. Getting good sleep means you're not going to overeat. It also affects how your body responds to insulin. So if you are not getting enough sleep, then you are going to have higher blood pressure, which is going to make you at risk for diabetes. So think about it. If you're not getting good quality sleep, your blood sugar is high, and your body's telling you that you're hungry, so you're putting more food into your body to process. Your blood sugar's already high, you're putting potentially more sugar into your body, making things work in overdrive. Part of the reason why babies and teenagers sleep so much is what I talked about a few minutes ago. Think about the amount of growth that a baby has from birth to 12 months. It's incredible. It is incredible the amount of weight they put on, how much they grow, all of the things that happen physically, developmentally for them in 12 months. So much of that is happening when they are asleep. I know for me, there's been times that my kids have come downstairs and I'm like, did you grow overnight? Yeah, they were growing overnight. And teenagers are going through puberty and their bodies are going through tons and tons of changes. And sleep is when it happens. So in our next episode, I'm going to help you understand how to create a good, healthy sleep hygiene routine. But for now, I just want you to consider, are you getting enough sleep? Do you have any of those symptoms of poor sleep? Or do you just know that you're not sleeping 8 hours a night, 7 to 9? Consider the side effects that poor sleep has. And are you already experiencing some of those things? And just imagine those benefits and what your life might look like if you're able to get some good quality sleep. So stay tuned. The next episode will be part 2, where we dive into how to create good, solid sleep routines for a long winter's nap. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.